God says, "I must talk with you immediately. Please do not ignore." Chosen one, this is not random. There is something I need to tell you right now, something you've been feeling but trying to ignore. I have been waiting for this moment to reach you. Please don't scroll past this. There are moments in life that arrive quietly, yet carry a weight you can feel deep within your chest. This is one of those moments. Not loud, not overwhelming, but steady, present, and impossible to ignore once you truly listen. You may have been moving through your days feeling a subtle shift. Something inside you has been trying to get your attention, not through fear, not through pressure, but through a quiet knowing. A feeling that something important is being placed before you. And now, here you are. This is not an accident. You are being spoken to in a way that does not rely on noise or urgency, but on awareness. Because what needs to reach you right now is not meant to disturb you. It is meant to guide you back into alignment. There is something in your life that you have been overlooking, not because you are careless, but because your mind has been full. Responsibilities, thoughts, distractions, they have pulled your attention outward. And in doing so, something gentle and meaningful has been left in the background. But it has not disappeared. It has been waiting. Chosen one. What is meant for you does not chase you, but it does call to you. And when it calls more than once, it is no longer something to delay or set aside. You may have felt a hesitation recently, a moment where you almost made a different choice, almost took a step, almost said yes or no, but then paused. That pause was not confusion. It was awareness trying to rise. There is clarity available to you right now, but it requires stillness, not overthinking, not forcing answers. Just a quiet moment where you allow yourself to notice what has been right in front of you. You already feel it, that small pull in your chest. That quiet sense that something matters more than you've been allowing it to. That is where your attention needs to go. You are not being asked to rush. You are being asked to listen, because ignoring this moment will not bring harm, but it will delay something that is ready to unfold for you. And deep down, you know you are ready for it. You have grown in ways you may not even fully recognize yet. You have become more aware, more patient, more grounded, and with that growth comes moments like this, where you are gently guided toward what aligns with who you are now, not who you used to be. Chosen one. There is a difference between being busy and being aligned. Right now, you are being invited back into alignment. Not through big changes or dramatic decisions, but through a simple act, paying attention. What have you been feeling lately that you haven't fully acknowledged? What thought keeps returning, even when you try to focus on something else? What situation feels unfinished, not because it's complicated, but because it hasn't been faced with honesty? These are not random. They are part of the message reaching you, and you don't need to have all the answers. You only need to stop pushing it aside. There is a quiet truth within you that has been waiting for your attention. It does not demand, it does not pressure, but it remains steady. And the more you ignore it, the more distant you feel from yourself. But the moment you turn toward it, even slightly, everything begins to settle. Chosen one, you are not behind, you are not lost, you are simply being redirected. Sometimes what feels like confusion is actually a moment of recalibration. A pause where you are being guided to see things clearly before moving forward again. And that is what this moment is. You are being asked to slow down just enough to notice what truly matters. Not what others expect, not what feels urgent on the surface, but what feels quietly important within you. There is something you already know you need to do, say, or accept. And the reason it keeps returning is because it is part of your path. You don't need to be perfect to respond to it. You just need to be present. Take a breath. Let everything else become still, even if only for a moment. And ask yourself gently, what have I been avoiding, even though I know it matters? The answer will not come as a loud voice. It will come as a feeling, a quiet clarity that settles in your chest. Trust that. You are not being led away from yourself. You are being led back to yourself. And this moment, right now, is an opening, not something to fear, not something to resist, just something to notice and honor. Chosen one, you are ready to hear what has been waiting for you. You're still here for a reason. Not everyone feels this pull, but you do, because you were meant to hear this. If something inside you is quietly saying, "This is for me," don't ignore it. You can even whisper, "I'm listening," in the comments, just to affirm it. And the moment you truly allow yourself to listen, something within you begins to soften. Not because everything suddenly becomes clear, but because you are no longer resisting what you already feel. There is a quiet relief that comes when you stop turning away from your own inner voice. You may have thought that clarity would arrive as a perfect answer, something obvious and undeniable, but often it comes as a gentle understanding, a realization that has been forming slowly, patiently, within you. It has been there through your thoughts, through your emotions, even through your doubts, and now it is asking to be acknowledged. Chosen one. You don't need to force yourself into action right away. This is not about pressure. This is about honesty. The kind of honesty that allows you to see your life without distraction, without avoidance. Just as it is, there is something sacred about that kind of awareness, because when you see clearly, even the smallest step forward becomes meaningful. You begin to move with intention, not confusion. You begin to trust yourself again, and that trust, it changes everything. Because for a long time you may have questioned your own instincts. You may have wondered if you were overthinking, or if what you felt was even valid. So you waited, you delayed, you told yourself you would figure it out later. But later has a way of becoming distance. And distance makes things feel heavier than they truly are. Right now you are being brought back to the present, where everything is simpler than your mind has made it. What you feel matters, what you sense is real, and what keeps returning to your awareness is not there by accident. Chosen one, there is a quiet courage rising within you. It may not feel strong or bold, but it is steady. It is enough. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need to have a full plan. You only need to stop ignoring what you already know. Even the smallest acknowledgement begins to shift your path. Sometimes it is as simple as admitting the truth to yourself. Sometimes it is allowing yourself to sit with a feeling instead of pushing it away. Sometimes it is choosing to move in a direction that feels right, even if it feels unfamiliar. These are not small things. These are the moments where your life gently begins to realign. You are not being asked to become someone new. You are being invited to return to who you are beneath the noise. And that version of you is calm, aware, and deeply connected. Chosen one, there is a reason this moment feels different. Because you are no longer the same person who once ignored these quiet signals without noticing. Now you feel them. Now you recognize them, and that awareness is a sign of your growth. Even if you don't always trust it yet, it is there. You are learning to listen in a deeper way, not to the outside world, but to the space within you that remains steady, even when everything else feels uncertain. Stay with that space. It does not rush you. It does not rush you. It simply holds truth. And the more you allow yourself to rest in that truth, the more everything begins to make sense, not all at once, but in small, meaningful ways. Chosen one, you are not being left without guidance. You are being guided in a way that respects your pace, your awareness, your readiness. Nothing is being forced upon you. But something is being offered, and all that is needed from you is your attention. You may notice that when you slow down, when you become present, the answers you were searching for begin to feel closer. Not because they suddenly appeared, but because you are no longer looking past them. They were always near. You were simply being prepared to see them. There is no need to rush ahead. There is no need to go back. There is only this moment where you are becoming more aware of yourself, more connected to what truly matters. And in this space, something gentle begins to unfold, a sense of direction, not loud, not demanding, but clear enough to follow. Chosen one, trust that you are not missing what is meant for you, but also understand that what is meant for you asks for your presence, not perfection, not certainty, just presence. And right now, you are closer to that than you realize. Something in you already knows why this moment found you. Stay with that feeling for a second. There is a quiet shift happening within you, one that doesn't need to be announced or proven. It's subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, but it changes the way you see things. Situations that once felt confusing begin to feel lighter, not because they have changed, but because your understanding of them has deepened. You are beginning to see with more clarity, and with that clarity comes a kind of peace that cannot be forced. Chosen one. This is what happens when you stop running from yourself. When you allow your thoughts to settle instead of chasing them. When you give your emotions space instead of resisting them, something opens, not all at once but gently, like a door that was never locked, only closed. And behind that door is a version of you that has always been present, quietly waiting. You may notice that certain things no longer hold the same weight they once did. Worries that felt overwhelming begin to lose their intensity. Not because they disappear, but because you are no longer attaching yourself to them in the same way. This is not detachment in a cold sense, it is awareness. It is understanding that not everything that passes through your mind needs to be held onto. And in that understanding, you find space. Space to breathe. Space to think clearly. Space to feel without being consumed. Chosen one, there is a strength in you that is not loud or forceful. It does not push or demand. It simply remains steady, even when everything else feels uncertain. That strength is growing. Every time you choose to pause instead of react, every time you choose to listen instead of avoid, every time you choose honesty over comfort, you are strengthening that part of yourself, and it is guiding you more than you realize. You may still feel moments of doubt. That is natural. Growth does not remove doubt entirely, but it changes your relationship with it. Instead of letting doubt control your direction, you begin to observe it. You begin to understand that doubt is often just a reflection of stepping into something unfamiliar, and unfamiliar does not mean wrong. In fact, many of the things that are meant for you will feel unfamiliar at first. Not because they are out of place, but because they are aligned with who you are becoming, not who you have been. That can feel unsettling, but it can also be freeing. Chosen one, you are not here to stay the same. You are here to evolve in ways that feel true to you, even if those ways don't always make sense to others, or even to your past self. There is a quiet unfolding happening in your life right now. It is not chaotic or dramatic, but it is meaningful. You may see it in the way you respond differently to situations that once triggered you. You may feel it in the way you are beginning to prioritize your peace over unnecessary noise. You may notice it in the way you are becoming more aware of what truly matters and what does not. These are not small changes. These are signs that you are coming into alignment with yourself. And alignment does not mean everything becomes perfect. It means you begin to move in a way that feels honest, even when things are uncertain. There is a difference between forcing your path and allowing your path to reveal itself. Right now, you are learning to allow. That does not mean doing nothing. It means moving with awareness instead of pressure. It means trusting the quiet signals within you instead of constantly searching for external validation. Chosen one, you do not need constant confirmation to know what feels right. You already feel it. It is in the moments where something settles within you, where a decision brings a sense of calm rather than tension, where a direction feels steady even if it is unclear. That is your inner guidance, and the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. There may still be distractions around you. Voices, opinions, expectations, they will always exist, but you are learning not to lose yourself in them. You are learning to return to yourself again and again. That is where your clarity lives, that is where your peace begins, and that is where you will find the answers you have been searching for. Chosen one, there is no need to rush your understanding. Everything you are meant to see will reveal itself in the right moment, as long as you remain present enough to notice it. You are not being left behind. You are being guided at a pace that allows you to truly absorb what you are learning. Because what you are learning is not just about making decisions, it is about understanding yourself on a deeper level, and that kind of understanding cannot be rushed. It unfolds with patience, it deepens with awareness, and it strengthens with trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the quiet signals you feel. Trust in the process that is unfolding, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. Chosen one. There is something powerful about where you are right now, not because everything is figured out, but because you are beginning to see things as they are without the need to escape or avoid. You are becoming more present, more grounded, more connected, and in that connection you are finding a sense of stability that does not depend on external circumstances. That is where true peace begins, not in having all the answers, but in being at ease with where you are while those answers unfold. You are learning that you do not need to control everything to feel secure. You only need to stay connected to yourself. And that connection, it is always available to you. Even in moments of confusion, even in moments of doubt, even in moments where you feel unsure. It is there, quiet, steady, unmoving. Chosen one. As you continue forward, you may notice that things begin to align in ways that feel natural, not forced. Opportunities, realizations, even conversations, they begin to appear at the right time without you having to chase them. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when you are in alignment with yourself. You begin to meet life differently, and life begins to meet you differently in return. But all of this begins with one simple thing: your willingness to listen to yourself, to the quiet knowing within you, to the subtle shifts that guide you, even when they are easy to overlook. You are not being asked to be perfect in this. You are only being asked to stay aware, to notice, to acknowledge, to respond, even in small ways, because those small moments of awareness, they shape everything. They guide your steps. They influence your choices. They bring you closer to the path that is truly meant for you. Chosen one. You are not separate from what you are seeking. You are already connected to it. And the more you allow yourself to listen, the clearer that connection becomes. There is nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to force, only something you need to recognize and gently move toward. And you are already beginning to do that. You didn't come across this by accident. There's a quiet message waiting for you here, even if it feels slow, even if it feels uncertain at times. There is movement happening within you, not the kind that is always visible on the outside, but the kind that reshapes how you experience everything. You are becoming more aware of the spaces between your thoughts, more aware of how you respond instead of simply reacting, more aware of what feels true, even when it is quiet. This awareness is changing you in ways that don't need to be announced. Chosen one, there is a deeper layer to this journey that you are now starting to touch. It is not about solving every problem or reaching a final destination. It is about learning how to stay connected to yourself, no matter what is happening around you. Because life will continue to move, situations will change, people will come and go, but your ability to remain centered within yourself, that is what gives you stability through it all. And that is what you are strengthening now. You may begin to notice that you no longer feel the same urgency to figure everything out immediately. There is a patience growing within you, not forced but natural, a quiet understanding that clarity comes when it is ready, not when it is demanded. This patience is not passive, it is active awareness. It allows you to observe without becoming overwhelmed. It allows you to feel without becoming lost. It allows you to move forward without needing constant reassurance. Chosen one, this is where a deeper kind of trust begins to form. Not just trust in outcomes, but trust in yourself, in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way. You are realizing that you do not need to have everything perfectly planned to move forward. You only need to stay connected to what feels aligned in each moment. And that alignment, it is not something distant or complicated. It is found in small, honest choices. The choice to pause when something feels off. The choice to listen when something feels important. The choice to step forward when something feels right, even if it feels unfamiliar. These choices may seem simple, but they carry a quiet power, because they bring you closer to yourself. And the closer you are to yourself, the less lost you feel. Chosen one, there is also something you are beginning to release. Old patterns that once felt automatic, ways of thinking that kept you in cycles of doubt or hesitation. They are slowly losing their hold on you. not because you are forcing them away, but because you are seeing them more clearly. And when you truly see something, it no longer controls you in the same way. You begin to recognize when you are overthinking instead of understanding. You begin to notice when fear is speaking instead of truth. You begin to feel the difference between what is real and what is imagined. This awareness creates a quiet separation, not from your thoughts, but from being controlled by them. And in that space you find freedom. Freedom to choose how you respond. Freedom to step back when needed. Freedom to move forward with intention instead of impulse. Chosen one, you are not losing parts of yourself in this process. You are uncovering what has always been steady beneath everything else. There is a calmness within you that does not depend on circumstances, a clarity that does not require constant validation, a strength that does not need to prove itself. You are beginning to rest in that. And as you do, you may notice that your energy feels different, lighter, more focused, less scattered. This is not something you need to hold on to tightly. It is something that naturally remains when you are aligned. And alignment, as you are learning, is not about perfection. It is about honesty. Honesty with what you feel. Honesty with what you need. Honesty with what you need. Honesty with what you know, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. Chosen one. There will still be moments where things feel unclear, moments where you question yourself again, moments where old patterns try to return. But these moments are not setbacks, they are reminders. Reminders to return to your awareness. Reminders to pause and listen again. Reminders that this is a process, not a single moment of change. And each time you return to yourself, it becomes easier. Not because life becomes simpler, but because you are becoming more grounded within it. You are no longer searching for something outside of you to bring you peace. You are realizing that peace begins with how you relate to yourself, how you listen, how you respond, how you allow things to be without immediately trying to control or fix them. Chosen one, there is a quiet confidence forming within you. Not loud, not forceful, but steady. It does not need recognition. It does not need approval. It simply exists, growing stronger each time you choose awareness over distraction, honesty over avoidance, presence over escape. This confidence is not based on knowing everything. It is based on trusting that you can handle what comes, one step at a time. And that trust, it changes the way you move through life. You begin to take steps that feel right, even if they are small. You begin to let go of what no longer feels aligned, even if it feels uncomfortable. You begin to allow things to unfold, instead of trying to control every outcome. This is not giving up control in a careless way. It is releasing the need to force what is not ready, while staying present for what is. Chosen one, there is also a deeper sense of clarity emerging about what truly matters to you. Not what you were told should matter, not what others expect, but what genuinely feels meaningful within you. This clarity may not come as a single realization. It may come in small moments, a feeling that something no longer resonates, a quiet pull towards something that does, a sense of peace when you move in a certain direction. These moments are guiding you. And the more you notice them, the clearer your path becomes. You do not need to rush ahead to see the entire path. You only need to stay aware of the step in front of you. That is enough. It has always been enough. Chosen one, as you continue to move in this way, you may begin to feel a deeper connection to your own presence. Not as something separate from your life, but as the foundation of it. You are not just moving through your experiences, you are present within them. Aware, grounded, connected. And in that connection, there is a quiet sense of fulfillment that does not depend on external outcomes. It comes from simply being aligned with yourself. This is where everything begins to feel more natural, more steady, more clear, not perfect, but real. And that is what matters, because what is real can be trusted, and what can be trusted allows you to move forward without constant doubt. Chosen one, you are not being asked to become anything more than who you already are. You are being guided to recognize that who you are is already enough to take the next step, not the final step, not every step, just the next one. And when you take it with awareness, with honesty, with presence, it leads you exactly where you need to go, without force, without confusion, without losing yourself along the way. You are not separate from your path. You are walking it, even now, in ways you may not fully see yet. And with each moment of awareness, it becomes clearer. Chosen one, this may not be loud, but it's important in a way you'll feel, not just hear. Not in a way that suddenly reveals everything at once, but in a way that gently removes the weight of uncertainty, allowing you to see what has been quietly present all along, waiting for you to notice it without pressure or expectation. There is something deeply grounding about this kind of clarity because it does not come from outside validation or sudden realization, but from a steady connection to yourself that strengthens over time, shaping the way you understand your life without needing to control it. Chosen one, you're beginning to experience what it feels like to trust your own presence, not as a fleeting moment of confidence, but as something consistent, something that remains even when your circumstances shift or when your thoughts become unsettled. And this trust is not built through certainty, but through returning to yourself again and again, even in moments where it would be easier to distract yourself or move away from what you feel. There is a quiet discipline in that return, not rigid or forced, but natural, like a rhythm. You are slowly remembering rather than learning for the first time. You may notice that the more you allow yourself to stay present, the less overwhelming things begin to feel, even when they are not fully resolved, because you are no longer carrying the added weight of resistance or avoidance that once made everything seem heavier than it truly was. And in that space, something begins to shift in how you relate to your own thoughts, because instead of immediately believing or reacting to them, you begin to observe them with a kind of gentle distance that allows you to see what is actually meaningful and what is simply passing through. This does not mean your thoughts disappear or become perfectly clear, but it means they no longer hold the same power over you, because you are no longer meeting them with urgency or fear. Chosen one, there is a quiet maturity forming within you, one that does not need to prove itself or be seen by others, because it is not about appearance, but about understanding. You are beginning to understand yourself in a way that goes beyond surface-level reactions, beyond temporary emotions, into something deeper and more stable that remains even when everything else feels uncertain. And this understanding changes the way you move, because you are no longer acting from impulse or habit, but from a place of awareness that allows you to choose your responses with intention, even in situations that once felt automatic. There is a patience in you now that was not always there, a willingness to sit with things without immediately needing to resolve them, a quiet acceptance that not everything needs to be figured out in the moment in order for you to feel at peace. This patience is not passive, and it is not avoidance, but rather a deeper trust that clarity unfolds naturally when you remain present enough to receive it. Chosen one, you are also beginning to notice the difference between what drains you and what sustains you, not in an obvious or dramatic way, but in subtle shifts in how you feel after certain thoughts, certain conversations, certain choices, and this awareness is guiding you even when you are not consciously thinking about it, because your body and your mind are beginning to align in a way that makes it easier to recognize what feels true and what does not. You may find yourself naturally moving away from things that no longer resonate, not out of rejection or resistance, but simply because they no longer hold the same meaning for you as they once did. And at the same time, you may feel drawn toward things that feel quieter, more grounded, more aligned with the person you are becoming, even if they do not seem as exciting or immediate as what once captured your attention. This is not a loss, this is refinement. Chosen one, there is a quiet refinement happening within you, one that is shaping your life in ways that are not always visible, but deeply meaningful. You are learning to value depth over distraction, presence over urgency, understanding over reaction. And this shift may feel unfamiliar at times because it does not follow the patterns you've been used to, but it carries a sense of stability that those patterns never truly provided. There is also a sense of responsibility that comes with this awareness, not in a heavy or overwhelming way, but in a quiet recognition that you are now more conscious of your choices and therefore more capable of shaping your experience with intention. And this responsibility is not something to fear, because it is not about doing everything perfectly, but about being honest with yourself in each moment. Chosen one, honesty is becoming your foundation. Not the kind of honesty that is harsh or critical, but the kind that is clear and steady, allowing you to see things as they are without needing to distort or avoid them. And dishonesty brings a kind of freedom that cannot be forced. Because when you are no longer trying to convince yourself of something that is not true, there is nothing left to hold on to except what is real. You may notice that this changes your relationship with uncertainty, because instead of fearing what you do not know, you begin to accept it as part of the process, something that does not need to be eliminated in order for you to move forward. There is a quiet confidence in that acceptance, because it allows you to remain grounded even when the path ahead is not fully visible. Chosen one, you are not walking blindly. You are walking with awareness. And awareness does not require full visibility. It only requires presence, a willingness to stay connected to yourself, even when the next step is not completely clear. There is something deeply steady about this way of moving, because it does not rely on external certainty, but on an internal sense of alignment that guides you without needing constant reassurance. And as this alignment strengthens, you may begin to feel less pulled in different directions, less influenced by what does not truly resonate, less inclined to follow paths that do not feel right simply because they are familiar. This does not mean you will never feel uncertain again, but it means uncertainty will no longer disconnect you from yourself. Chosen one, there is also a quiet sense of acceptance growing within you, not resignation, not settling, but a deeper understanding that where you are right now is part of your path, not something separate from it. And this acceptance allows you to be present in your life without constantly wishing for it to be different, without feeling like you need to escape your current moment in order to find peace. Because peace is not something that exists somewhere else. It is something that becomes available when you stop resisting where you are. This does not mean you stop growing or moving forward, but it means you do so from a place of presence rather than dissatisfaction. And that changes everything. Chosen one, you are beginning to see that your life is not something you need to figure out all at once, but something that reveals itself through your awareness, your honesty, your willingness to stay present, even when things are unclear. And in this way, your path is not something distant or unreachable. It is something you are already walking, step by step, moment by moment, through every choice you make, through every moment you choose to listen instead of avoid. There is no final moment where everything suddenly becomes perfect. There is only this ongoing unfolding, this quiet deepening of your understanding, this steady alignment with who you truly are. And the more you allow yourself to remain in this space, the more natural everything begins to feel. Not because life becomes easier, but because you are no longer working against yourself. You are moving with yourself. And in that movement, there is a quiet harmony that does not need to be explained or proven, because it is felt in the way you experience your life, in the way you respond to what comes, in the way you remain connected to yourself no matter what changes around you. Chosen one, this is where your strength truly lives, not in controlling every outcome, not in having all the answers, but in your ability to remain present, aware, and honest with yourself as everything continues to unfold. And that is something you are already doing more than you realize. Before you go, pause for a second. This message wasn't just heard. It was meant to stay with you. If your heart felt even a small shift, stay connected. There is more meant for you. You can subscribe to Born into Light, only if your soul feels ready for it. There is no need to search for something more in this moment, no need to question whether you are on the right path, because the very awareness you carry right now is guiding you in ways that are quiet but certain. You are not missing anything. You are not behind. You are simply moving at a pace that allows you to truly understand what is unfolding within you, and that understanding is far more valuable than rushing towards something you are not yet ready to hold. Chosen one, allow yourself to rest in this knowing, not as a final answer, but as a gentle truth that supports you as you continue forward. Everything that needs your attention will reveal itself in time. Everything that is meant for you will meet you as you remain present, and everything you are becoming is already unfolding, one quiet moment at a time. If this message stayed with you, take a quiet moment to like the video and subscribe to Born into Light, so these reflections can continue to find you when you need them.